Dr. Doreen Grand-Pichet is the
Dr. Doreen is an expert in autism.
Doreen Grand-Pichet.
Dr. Grand-Pichet.
Dr. Doreen Grand-Pichet.
Dr. Doreen Grand-Pichet is a visionary in the field of autism. Now you can ask her questions on Ask Dr. Doreen. All right, we're trying something different here. I don't know whether you guys can hear us better now. Please write in. Traven did something. I saw something on the screen. Write in and tell us if you can hear better now. But we're talking about school refusal right now and how a lot of people are going back in the classroom, and they're going back in different ways. Here in Los Angeles yesterday, they said we're going back to school in the fall, but it's masks on. And a lot of people are having mini meltdowns about that, although they gave an asterisk and saying that they'll, consider special considerations. Okay, so Dr. Grand-Pichet, talk to us about school refusal while we work on the sound.
Yeah, and Shannon, I missed the first part of this. Are we talking about refusal due to COVID issues? Is that what we're talking about?
Well, I think we're talking about when kids refuse for various and sundry reasons, that they don't want to go to school. Now, some of that I think is going to be, we're going to see much more of it because they're used to being home from COVID and they don't want to be in a mask. But I think in general, what do we do when our kiddo or our teen does not want to go to school?
Yeah, that's a lot easier to answer than if the refusal was on the school side. Yeah. So, of course, we've talked about this a few times before. It's just simple to look at everything that you want to change in terms of just behavior, and if you want to increase a behavior or decrease a behavior. And here, of course, the goal is to increase a behavior. Oh, good. I can see that Charles wrote in that the volume has been fixed. Thank you, Charles. Appreciate that. So, yeah, and I saw also Charles's other texts coming on there. And Charles, please get in touch with Shannon. And that's why Shannon gave you the email, her email.
I'm going to put back in too.
And then we can connect that way. We'd love to talk to you. In terms of kids who don't want to go to school, and by the way, you're right, it will be much more common now because kids are now used to staying at home, right? And it's a whole different world, starting to get on a schedule again and getting ready in the morning, getting there on time, et cetera, et cetera. So that's hard. And like anything else, when you want to increase the behavior, a lot of the folks on the call know all you have to do is increase reinforcers, right? So we need to do this in a way where the experience of going to school becomes a pleasant one. Now it sounds a little bit harder than it is because not any given child is not going to necessarily find school to be a pleasant experience right off the bat, right? But you can make some changes that'll help that happen. And one of the things you could do is we're going to shape this behavior, right? So we're going to start out with, we're only going to school for 1 hour. And if you go to school for 1 hour, and maybe 1 hour is even too much in the beginning, we want to start kind of where the child is comfortable. So you can also go with, let's say, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, whatever it is. If it's even, in some cases, I've had children where like something traumatic has happened in school, and honestly, they can't even get out of the car. So we just we start with a baseline. We call it baseline, which is the level at which the child is okay. And the baseline is sometimes just driving to the parking lot, and that's where we have to start. But wherever the child's baseline is, let's say it's driving to the parking lot or it's being there for an hour, the idea is that you list kind of a series of progressions. So, driving to the parking lot, then driving to the parking lot and getting out of the car. Driving to the parking lot, getting out of the car and going and saying hi to the teacher. Going, saying hi to the teacher and then spending 5 minutes there. Whatever it is, you just write this progression. And you basically do it every day, and you make sure that the child receives a massive reward for completing the progression. So let's say we're up to an hour at school. First of all, you want to make sure that when they're in school, they're having a good time, they're okay, and you want to talk to the teacher about this. And then when they're done with it and you pick them up, they get something very special that they wouldn't normally get. And that's important because reinforcers are only valid if you don't overuse them, right? So they will only be effective if it's an unusual thing. If we went to Disneyland every single day, there'd be nothing special about it anymore. So, and it could be small things like ice cream or whatever your child is allowed to have that's a treat that they can't usually have. And so by doing this, what you're doing is you're shaping the child's behavior and you're reinforcing the goal, which is spending, let's say, 3 hours or 5 hours or 6 hours, whatever it is, in school. And you're gradually doing this. Now, remember, a lot of these things that you change behaviorally do not happen overnight. So this is going to take some time, maybe a month, maybe 2 months, because you don't want to jump from 5 minutes in school to 3 hours in school. Don't think that because the child has had a success at the first hour, they're going to be fine with 6 hours right off the bat. You have to make sure that there's progressive reinforcement. And by the way, when you hit to like 5 hours or 6 hours, make sure the teacher is working with you and taking care of the child and rewarding them perhaps on the hour. And so the concept is always whenever you want to change your behavior, you break the behavior down, you make small demands with a lot of reinforcers. And then over time, as the demands become kind of bigger, you can also start to reduce your reinforcers once the child is comfortable. And the reason you do this is because in real life, you're not going to the child is not going to get a reward for every hour of being in school or every 5 minutes. That's just not real life. It's kind of a we've set that up to teach the child, but you always want to end with something that is like real life because you want the behavior to maintain. You don't want the behavior to disappear as soon as you stop giving rewards, right? So you have to at the end of this, you have to reduce the reinforcers so that they're like real life. How do you do that? Well, most of our kids, I find, Shanna, I think the biggest reinforcer for a lot of kids when they go to school is other kids, right? A lot of our kids go there because they want to see their friends. Now, with our children, children on the spectrum, they might not have friends. They might be bullied. They might feel left out. They might feel like a little bit lost. They can't keep up with what's going on. So that means that to begin with, the school environment is not a positive environment for them to begin with. So a lot of the work that we do in ABA is in behavior analysis is we're trying to teach the child skills at home, kind of like tutoring, so that when they go to school, they have a more positive experience. Sort of, if you think of let's say the child who is bad at math and dreads math class, right? But they get tutoring at home, and then they become like the best math students, and now they're no longer afraid of going to math class, right? It's the same concept here. So with our children, you want to make sure they have some skills that are going to help them get through the school day. So you need to support them academically at home. You need to maybe invite friends over to the house so that they can have someone that they're familiar with when they go to school. You want to make sure the teacher keeps an eye on them. You want to get the teacher maybe or an aide or someone to write a journal so you know what's going on with the child, what part of the day they're having a hard time. You might even want to like have, make your child the cool child by giving them like really cool snacks that they can share with other kids, or events that like parties where you invite everyone to the house. There's a lot of stuff you can do to make your child kind of feel more comfortable at school. And let me tell you, it is super, super important to do these things because when a child doesn't want to go to school and we are forcing the child to go to school, it's most of their life is spent in an environment that they're unhappy. And so that's really important.
I love everything that you said. And it was like taking a tour of going back in time. And because you guys told me to do all these things for my son. And it's like a full-time job. Let me just say that it's exhausting. It's a full-time job of keeping up on, as you said, making sure that there's some sort of treat for having gone to school, even if it's for part of the day, working on stuff at home to give them the skills, making your house the cool, fun place to be. But it's a really good full-time job. And it's a full-time job that pays a lot, and especially in benefits for you and for your kiddo. Because the first time that you see your kiddo being excited to go to school and being excited to have a friend and getting in your car when you pick them up from school and they're excited to go do the thing that's the treat that they get because they had a good day at school, let me tell you, it's the best parenting moment you can have. So I would watch this video back eight or nine times so that you can make sure that you get all, because Dr. Graham-Shea gave you the total 411 on that. But I agree with her. It's 100%.
Thanks for watching Autism Live. If you found anything helpful in this video, please give us a like. In fact, make sure that you smash that subscribe button on YouTube and give us a like on Facebook. You can also follow us on Twitter and Instagram for important updates. And please download our free podcast wherever you get your podcasts. See you next time. Until then, give your kiddos a hug from me and one for you too. Bye-bye for now.
To subscribe, click here. And if you'd like to check out some more of our videos, click here.